Thompson Productions.
No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jet is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am Jose Galison. What it do? Let me know if I'm sounding good, looking good. Actually, I'm kind of curious about looking good. I've done a little bit something different with my hair. I'm not putting product in it anymore. I'm just letting it down, letting it flow, going crazy with it. What do you guys think? It reminds me of like high school, just like the crazy, like emo preppy hair I used to have. I'm digging it. I can't get a straight answer out of my wife or kids. They're just like, you look fine, honey. So I'm asking you guys fucking tell me. Also tell me, make sure I'm coming in loud and clear. You never know when they get you. You never know when the fucking, the tech fetties get you. Something's wrong. I see you guys in the chat though, and you're not complaining. So, hey, cool. I see King David here. What's up, Jose? Let's fucking go. Fuck yeah. High strangeness. This was a few years ago. It was the anniversary of Waco. I always thought they were done wrong, but it turns out as an all-out act. All the survivors were doing streams and their own podcasts in one of the interviews. Well, what? I'm so confused. All the survivors were doing streams. I always thought they were done wrong, but turns out it was an act. I'm confused what you mean. Are you saying that, like, they were done wrong? Who was done wrong? Like, the survivors? I'm confused. I guess I don't really get what you're saying. Everyone's saying, fuck yeah, you guys dig the hair? Cool, hell yeah. I'm here for it. It was getting too long. It was like I either needed a haircut or I need to or something, or just let it down, because it was getting too long to like put product in. It was retarded. So yeah, here's Wise Elkin here. See you. I always see you in the comments on Rumble, by the way, bud. I appreciate it. You leave some good stuff. I do mean to reply sometimes, but I'm really bad about that. But yeah, all right, here we go. Koresh was interviewing their survivors. She is alive. Hair looks good. Wide is right. Wife is always right. She is alive. Who is alive? All right, I'm confused, man. Koresh was interviewing the survivors. She is alive. Geez, wife. No spell check. Okay, well, I still don't know what you mean by she is alive. Koresh was interviewing the survivors. Okay, it makes sense Koresh was interviewing the survivors. I didn't realize they were doing that, though. But yeah, see Daniel in the chat, see Cack in the chat. Hey, say what now? Tom33, a lot of the normal people, a lot of new people, because it's a weekend, and we always seem to catch a different group on the weekends. By the way, sorry, me and Austin did not do a morning dump yesterday. Every now and then we need a day. So yeah, there we go. Yes, Koresh, they do that often. David Bowie also did the same thing after. So you're implying he faked his death, is what you're saying? Okay, I guess it's theoretically possible in a fire. I don't know. I don't really know the specifics if they ever found like DNA evidence or anything. So I guess it's possible. I mean, with a fucking with a fire, yeah. With a full on fire, it's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a good way to fake a death. So fucking, I don't know. So there you go. He's alive. You meant to say he's earlier. He's alive. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Your spell check was getting your sausage fingers are getting the best of you. So I feel you. I'm the same way. I fuck up all the time because of my fat fingers. So yeah, someone's saying 5 o'clock shadow check, glasses check. This is not a 5 o'clock shadow. This is like a good like few weeks of growth. So I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I appreciate everyone in the chat here. Everyone's showing up today on a Sunday. I don't know if you guys caught that little thing at the beginning, the little Top Lobster Productions thing. I know a lot of people do have I have some strong thoughts in the community about Top Lobster, but he's my homie. He's my buddy. He's always going to be. So you can suck a dick if you don't like that. Although, I'm somewhat kidding. If you don't like Top, we can be cool. But if you're going to be a faggot about me being with friends with Top, then obviously that's going to become an issue. Because he's going to be around for a long time. But either way, point being is this is we're clicking up now. We've always kind of kicked this idea around of like networking more, and we kind of always have kind of been a loose network sort of, anyways. Between Top Lobster, Nephilim Death Squad, fucking Liberty Lockdown, Tower Gang, you got like Already Dead. Like they're kind of referring now over there, I guess, for ease, because our branding's a little bit confusing over here with me and Austin, since we kind of dual stuff. We do a lot of stuff together, but yet have our own channels. So we kind of do Morning Dump and Already Dead. It kind of makes a what am I saying? It makes God, what is it? What I was saying? It makes branding a little weird, because it is like we're kind of got three things going on at once, but it all kind of falls under all under my No Way Jose, while also following. It's confusing. It's because we were like really set on sending or having our own thing. So, but with that, they're referring to us as like the Already Dead Boys, which I'm fine with it. Whatever. That's kind of how we'll be known as. I guess the branding for the two of us together will be kind of like Already Dead. I'm cool with that. But either way, point being is we are kind of clicking up like that. We're grouping up. And there's going to be interesting stuff in the future. If you guys, any of you guys who popped into Raven's stream yesterday, he talked a lot about where kind of the direction of things going forward. So it looks like we're clicking up. There's going to be, things are forming. It's going to be more, right now it's just kind of like just that little thing. I know it's just that thing of being the Top Lobster Productions. Is that way we're kind of just like branding, we're forward facing, kind of like you guys know, like, hey, we're clicking up. But going forward, we're going to do some we're gonna do some interesting stuff. Like one of the things we're talking about is kind of like sharing some sort of like a production team of some sort, like essentially putting some sort of a clicking up like resource sharing type deal. So that way, like we all come together. That way we all have a production team. It can help us do a whole lot more. Like think about how much better this show would be if we had a production team of some sort. Like even just little things. Like if you watch Raven's shows, even Raven has a better production value of the show, and that's partially because they have, between Top and Raven, I'd say mostly probably Top. They probably have they have a little bit more know-how when it comes to production type stuff. They got like I forget what they're even called, they're roadcasters and stuff where you can like do audio drops. I've been a tech idiot my whole life. I'm gonna probably be a tech idiot my whole life. So it's like if you get a fucking fucking production team to handle those sort of things, I can do even just little things. Like watch Raven when he comes in. It's like he has the intro. I mean, he even has that like pre-intro thing, like the waiting room music, which I don't even really know how to do hardly any of that shit. And then he has like that music where like you kind of cut in, but it's like at a low, which I think that's a roadcaster thing. But point being is like if I added all these bells and whistles, it'd produce such a nice product for you guys. Also be great for distribution. So we're moving up. We're moving up in the world. Things are getting big. We're going to be, we're also looking towards, more Bro Groves here in the future. So maybe even more events, because if we can get to, 2 events a year, dude, and coming out of this network, dude, it's going to kick ass. So, but I guess that's kind of enough on that. I guess I kind of looking around, scroll through you guys' chat real quick, think what you guys have to say. Someone's saying, I guess they're arguing about Koresh, which like, I don't know, who cares? I mean, I don't know. I really don't even care if Koresh is alive or not, to be honest. I mean, if you guys want to argue about it, go for it. So let's see. Someone says, I love Top. He's such an unhinged conspiracy theorist. I listen to NDS. When he called Billy Carson a Yakubian nigger wizard, I was dying. Yeah, it was pretty good. I will tell you, though, I'm with that for, with us not streaming yesterday, part of why I lied to myself and didn't really push myself to do it was because of the fact that, a stream yesterday, so I was like, whatever, we'll have a day of silence for a Raven stream. I didn't even realize it was his last stream until I was getting ready to set up yesterday's stream, and I was just kind of like, ugh. I wasn't feeling it yesterday. I had a lot of shit going on. Really just didn't even end up having the time. Me and Austin were going to try to do it later in the day, and we just ended up not doing it. But either way, yesterday was Raven's last day as in Timeline Cleanse, which he says he might come back, but it's probably not going to be until like around July if he does come back. And he says maybe the show will be different, so you may be dealing with a different format. So in essence, at least for now, it's functionally dead, Timeline Cleanse. So with that, we're probably going to be getting a lot of these timeline cleanse guides coming in. I do want to let you guys know what kind of show this is. This isn't a... there's a lot of similarities between this and a timeline cleanse. Similarities, it's, mostly, almost daily, if not daily. I think timeline cleanse has the same format there, because, I'm just letting you guys know, a lot of timeline cleanse guys who might be coming here. It's we're open to saying naughty words. You just heard me say nigger a second ago. I don't care. Words are words, whatever. But this isn't a pee pee poo poo show. We do a little pee pee poo poo occasionally, have some fun, but giggle around. The other day I accused fucking Austin of being a Jew lover. That was fun. We had a good little back and forth there. We had a good time. We have funsies. We say naughty words. We're not against breaking the mold there, but me and Austin are more of the Spurg types. We are more of the researcher types. So we are going to mostly the show is going to be us digging through threads, as you can see just by the title today. Influencers for sale, Shmandy Shmook, which I don't know how that's going to work on YouTube, if they'll let this one stick around. So make sure to follow us on Rumble. Satanic Soldiers, which it refers to Michael Aquino and his temple set, some other stuff. But so the idea here is we just it's a dump. It's a play on words. It's a dump. Dump, morning dump, your morning poop. But it's also kind of like you did the dump. People refer to like a document dump or a dump. Like, we're dumping information on you here. This is where we go through articles, threads, videos, whatever. And also, I do want to let you guys know a big similarity between these two shows is it is audience driven. I know with David's show, he would essentially have his audience. I don't know how he did it, if he had like a Discord or what, but essentially he would bring up you guys' content. But here, we do the same thing. The way it goes about, though, is tag us, or you can leave it in the Rumble chat. If you leave a link on the Rumble chat, I'll likely go take a peek at it, see what it is. If it's something, that's worthwhile going into today's show, I will. But, I'd say the best way to do it is tag us on something on Twitter. Between me and Austin, this, as I said earlier, this is a 7-day show, basically a 5 to 7 day show. Between me and Austin, usually one of us is in here around 10 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes we change up the time, but generally speaking, same time, and it's either me or Austin, one of us, or both of us. So we do it this way, that way. It's kind of allows us not to get too overworked. So, I don't know how the fuck David did this for so long, but I'm but one man, so here we are. But anyways, just letting you guys a little introduction for the Timeline Cleanse audience out there that are inevitably going to be probably pouring in. You guys can have a say in this. I'd say the vast majority of stuff you guys tag me in on Twitter, I end up bringing up on the show. And with that, a few of those are going to be things that were tagged by audience. So, but obviously different vibes. But I think you guys might like it. I like to describe Timelines Cleanse as like pee pee poo poo with the side of big brain, and this is big brain with the side of pee pee poo poo. So, I don't know, different strokes for different folks. Maybe you guys will learn to like this, and then maybe whenever David comes back around, then you have your outlet for both big brain and pee pee poo poo. But with that, let's roll through you guys' chat real quick. I see Tyler in here. By the way, Tyler, let me know if you want to join. I think I already have a thread, or not thread, but the link saved. So I was actually saw you in the chat a minute ago. I was like, ooh, I should invite him. You're welcome to come on if you are available. Let me know in the chat or in Twitter or something. So. Someone says adios. Lies. You don't have to say anything. It's all okay. Whatever. Someone's here for Satanic Soldiers. Let me see. I'm just scrolling through y'all's chats. All right. Let's. There was quite a few, but you guys are mostly just arguing in there. Oh, JMS says this is the best place to dump and get your dump. Somebody says he's not coming back. They left the TLC baby in a hot car outside of Walmart while they stock up on to me. Perhaps. I don't know. All right, let's get into I guess probably the first story of the day. But before we do that, for no reason whatsoever, I know the first story is influencers for sale, but for no reason whatsoever, I'm definitely not getting paid by these guys or anything. I figured I'd let you guys know about this one cool company. I think we should add them to like SNAP benefits or something. That'd probably be a good idea. Like then you could just get the government to pay for them, and then they go right into my buddy Nadeau's pocket. Obviously I'm gaining nothing from. Obviously this is all jokes, guys. Kind of playing off the first story. We'll get into a second, but I do just to let you guys know I am sponsored by Nadeau Shave Co. I'm sponsored, baby boy. But hey, it's a great product. This is my only sponsor, so it tells you something. It's a great product, but it does let you guys know I am controlled by Shave Company. So like at the end of the day, like I am his puppet. I do what this single blade razor company wants me to do. All right, I'm just joking. But either way, I'm letting you guys know this is a very different situation than what we're about to go in the first story. This is a great product. It's from a company that doesn't hate your guts. This is a COVID mandate refusing company. This company is literally born out of refusing the COVID mandate. That's how this company is born. Nadeau was in the military. He got the option to get the pokey poke or get out. He got out and he started Nadeau Shave Co. And that's kind of how he's been making ends meet in the meantime. So be sure to support him. It's also a single blade safety razor, and if anyone use one of those, these are a vastly superior product than those multi-blade cartridges. Let me run through it real quick. With it being a single blade, it gives you a much smoother shave. That you were talking like baby smooth here, and then on top of that, with it only being one blade, it is much better for your skin, much. And instead of dragging 3, 4, 5 razors across your face, you're only dragging one, and you're getting a smooth shave with just that one drag. It's also a lot cheaper. I mean, it's $75 a shave for the first year. After that, you're just buying the blades. So the first year, you get the handle here and the blades. That's $75 for the whole year. If that isn't going to cut it for you, if you're like a daily shaver, you got the quarter shave club. But that should cut it for you. And like literally in the first year, it's already cheaper than the multi-blade. After that, you're just buying the blades. And it's way cheaper. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, from a company that doesn't hate your guts. And on top of all of that, you can get 10% off if you use Jose at checkout. Let them know I sent you. I really cannot suggest this product enough. I know you guys see me with a beard here, but I edge up and everything with it, like shave under my neck. It's great. I really do appreciate this product, and it's kind of a no-brainer, and it's from a company that you should support if you're going to shave anyway. So why the fuck not? It's cheaper, and from a company that supports your value. So do it. But with that, let's get into, I guess, the first story of the day. Actually, one second. Give me a second. I'm gonna send my buddy Tyler a link real quick, because that way maybe he can join if he's available. I'll just go ahead and send it to him now. Sorry, I know this is great content for you guys. Fucking A, what the hell? Sorry, I'm trying to message him. Son of a bitch, it's being gay. Sorry, Tyler. There we go. Sorry, I know this is wonderful content. Here we go. All right, cool. Just send it over to him. So maybe we'll get Tyler to join us. I always like Tyler joining. But all right, let's roll through the chat, see what you guys say. And then I guess let's get through the first story after that. Japanese make the best pubic shavers? That's nice. A Nadeau shave has a basement full of human trafficking victims in cages. No, they don't. No, they do not. They definitely do not. No. I've never been to those parties. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Obviously, imagine shilling for a razor company. Just kidding. Love you, boys. Austin, you the GOAT. By the way, just to clear it up, I know a lot of people like to think I'm Austin. I am not Austin. I know it gets confusing for people because you're probably watching on Austin's channel. But yeah, I don't know. Austin's not here today. He'll be back, I don't know, maybe tomorrow? Probably tomorrow. So I might not be. I don't know. We'll see. I might have to work tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. But let's go ahead, I guess, get into the first thing of the day, first story of the day. Influencers doing wild shit. Here we go from Nick Sortor. He's saying, expose influenceable. The company cutting big checks to influencers on behalf of Big Soda. Over the past 48 hours, several large, supposedly MAGA-aligned influencers posted almost identical talking points fed to them, convincing you Maha was out of line for not wanting soda purchases with food stamps. Some even slimily invoked President Trump as an emotional manipulation tactic, referring to his his Diet Coke buy. Not a single one of them disclosed they were paid for these posts, which led leaders to believe a general soda ban was in the works. Now, I will say, generally speaking, when you see me post, I don't know if I've ever even posted about Nadeau. Maybe I have before. If I ever were, I know it's a common thing where people will pay for posts. I don't think I've ever done that. I'm not necessarily against it on principle. I don't really like it. I'll be honest. It feels gross. But if I did, it'd be very, very obvious. It would be I don't know if I'd necessarily say this is literally an ad, but it would be in a format that you're oh, this is clearly an ad. It wouldn't be I'm slipping it into a conversation, or in this situation. This one's kind of particularly weird. As you can see, you have Clown. Let's scroll in. I thought these were separate. I gotta zoom in. Fucking annoying. Here's Clown World. It says the government wants to block soda purchases for Americans on Snap. Remember when New York City tried this and it completely backfired? President Trump proudly had a Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. This is ridiculous government overreach. Let people decide for themselves. Keep in mind, this is Snap. This is fucking... what is it? Food stamps, essentially. Like this is free food. I say free. I mean, not really. Everyone else pays for it. So literally, it's theft food. So, and then here's Eric Doherty. Doherty. I don't know how that's spelled. Funny, I had a buddy once with that last name too. I don't know why I'm struggling with it. Doherty. I want to say they said Doherty. Doherty? It was like a CA, whatever. Important. We cannot allow Make America Healthy Again messaging to be used to force needy Americans into not buying certain things. Some officials in D.C. are working on trying to prevent Americans on SNAP from using those benefits to purchase any soda. Remember when New York City Democrats tried to prevent people from buying and consuming soda? It backfired big time. People get saying that. I don't even know what the fuck that means. I bet you what that is. I bet you they made it. They probably put on taxes to make them more expensive, or tried to ban them in New York at one point, which is very different than removing them from SNAP, which is kind of what this post is implying. It's almost like it's almost getting at like, it's almost like it's trying to get in the brain of stupid people to be like, oh, they're banning soda. So President Trump literally has a Diet Coke button in his Oval Office. Let people think and decide for themselves. Anyone can consume soda and be perfectly fine in moderation, unless we are just going to ban every food with sugar in it for SNAP Americans. Here's not Jerome Powell. Government overreach strikes again. This time it's soda's turn. I'm not going to finish reading that one, but Ian Miles Chung, he's kind of the focus of most people's ire, so I'll read his entirely. I don't really care about the Jerome Powell account. It's a parody account anyways. I think Ian Miles is basically a parody, but all right, here we go. A new war on soda has begun, targeting purchases made through SNAP. I don't believe it's the government's role to decide what people should or shouldn't eat. The last time the U.S. government dove deep into dietary guidance, the whole world ended up with the questionable food pyramid. It also championed the COVID-19 vaccine as safe and effective. This is so fucking retarded. Promoting better health for Americans is a reasonable idea, but not when it involves curbing Diet Coke purchases. Restricting soda through SNAP is an unnecessary move by the government to control its consumption, overstepping its authority and infringing on individual liberty. This is peak retarded. Once again, this is literally, this is a welfare program, SNAP. This is a welfare program. This is literally people, this is someone saying, I can't afford my own food, so I'm going to go to the government who's going to steal money from the rest of society and then give me that money or a portion of that money, and I'm going to use that for food. I think it's completely fair for Americans to say, fuck you, you don't get soda. Like I sort of joking the other day, but I put out a tweet that I was like, SNAP benefits should be fucking, swimming pools full of rice in the inner city. I'm like not really kidding. Like I actually think that's too much. I don't think it should exist at all. That's very, very much where I came from. Now, does that mean I don't think not welfare? What's the word I'm looking for? The charity should exist? No, I think in the absence of it, in the absence of a welfare state, I think likely people would pick up the pieces, much like churches and stuff. God, there's one book I wish I could remember. I can't think of it right now. Really famous early thinker when it came to I guess they probably would have called him a classical liberal. That was it Albert Nock, I think. What was the famous book he wrote? It's a pretty good book, especially like the first half or so. I can't remember. Anyways, Albert Nock wrote a book, and he there's a good portion of that where he goes into that idea because he's an older thinker. I forget what time. I want to say Albert Nock had to have been the early 1900s, somewhat. Maybe 1950s or earlier, if I had to guess. Point being is, so he was at a time where we had less welfare. So he was kind of, he was writing at a time where it was like kind of taking over. So he's able to point more, he was able to like at a spot in time where it's like, yo, I remember when it was like, there were more of these, soup kitchens from churches or whatever, as opposed to all these government programs that are taking over, which in turn diminish the other ones. Because if you as a citizen are being, stolen from, by the government in order to provide for welfare or all these different programs, you no longer have extra money to give to other things like, charity. Like, I'll be honest, I'm basically a poor. Like, I'm not like poor, I say that, but I'm like, if the government wasn't stealing from me, I honestly probably would give to charity and things like that a whole lot more. But I'll be honest, I'm not very giving. I'm just not when it comes to stuff like that, because it's like, yo, I got a family, I got shit to take care of. It is what it is. Like, they're stealing a fuckload of money from me. Like, I don't remember what the percent is. I'm no longer active duty military like it used to be back in the day, so I don't get the fucking kickbacks like I used to, taxes. I used to get hooked up there. Now I get fucked every year. So, yeah, I'm keeping this money to myself. I'm sorry. But my point being is that's how a lot of people think. And so it's kind of, I mean, it makes sense. You steal a bunch of money from people, they're going to be less likely to, be forthcoming with said money. So, all right, let's keep going through this. These influencers were given a couple templates to use by Influenceable, with one of those templates specifically telling them to mention Trump's Diet Coke habit, which I'm pretty sure literally all 4 of those did. Which, I mean, I guess it's somewhat anecdotal, but those were all kind of larger accounts that anyone that hangs on Twitter would kind of know, except for the Doherty account. I don't really fucking know. This was done to invoke an emotional response from loyal Trump supporters, making them feel as if banning soda from Snap would be anti-Trump. It was an incredibly dirty tactic meant to manipulate loyal followers. So here you go, shows here. All right, I don't know what this is. This is from Influenceable. Okay, so this is a campaign, which, okay, I guess, I don't know how, here we go, Influenceable, I guess it's some sort of app or something that maybe some of these fucking losers are on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it shows all the little different key messaging stuff. This campaign highlights the danger of government overregulation with a specific focus on current efforts to restrict soda purchases through food aid programs. The narrative emphasizes how such regulation is an overreach that unfairly targets consumer choice, especially considering the president himself is a Diet Coke enthusiast. So now we're kind of seeing a little bit behind the curtain here of how some of this influencer stuff works, is they have these campaigns, but they're different. Like I've seen something similar to this before, like on my previous podcast host, they would have like campaigns or something they would send you, but they were like literal ads. So you would do ad reads but it would be like they contacted you through the podcast service or whatever. And they'd be like, hey, this and that, and you could choose not to. So this seems very similar to that. Although the kind of gross thing about this is this just means, I guess, I don't know. I guess it implies that they could just be like an ad type thing. But as you could see with all those formats, none of those formats would make you think this was an ad of some sort. So yeah, they're literally paying for posts. So anyways, look, this is how this game is played. How often is this done? How often is this shit like pulled over the wool pulled over your eyes where they're really trying to sell you some bullshit or some fucking narrative? Probably a fucking lot. So I don't know. I think it's interesting to see how this plays out. But all right, let's keep going. Influencers were texted by Influenceable telling them to help push back. One second, let me actually double check, make sure this is actually up. Oh, hey, Tyler's back there. Holy shit. What's up, dude? What'd it do?
Good morning.
How long you been back there?
Hours. No, just a little bit. Thanks.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how long I was talking about Ian Fag. Oh, by the way, for those who didn't catch on, that thumbnail is Ian Miles Chong. That's the closest I could get Grok to it.
Is that what it was? Look, sorry, I just literally woke up a little bit ago, so
you're good.
I got the morning voice going. But I do have a question about your Grok. So did you figure that out for the thumbnails?
Not really. I just kind of I just have to just get better. I guess I don't know. I heard from a lot of people. Sorry, I got a sausage in my mouth. That sounded gay. But while you were talking, I was like, cool, I can eat some of my breakfast real quick, which I was waiting to strategically do to play like a video or something. No, yeah, keep talking, keep vamping so I can chew.
Ian Miles Chong. I was just looking, by the way, because I saw the quartering. He had posted something up there where he's saying that these people are violating FTC and X terms of service. So he's asked Elon to ban their accounts, which I'm like, okay, I agree, but that seems also like a gay extreme move to tattle as well.
Like, I do want them to get banned, but I also would never be the faggot that would call for them to get banned. You know what I mean? Like, I would never be like,
absolutely. Yeah.
This is against the terms of service, Elon Musk.
Right.
Like, I would never do that. Right. But I also, when they get banned, I'd be like, nice. I don't give a fuck. Although I guess it depends on it is. I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to be, but like for something like this, you're like, yeah, no, fuck you. Like, this feels gross. I mean, like, I don't know. There's nothing like illegal but it just feels gross. But what was the question again? Sorry.
Your Grok.
Oh, Grok. Yeah, no. I think I heard some input from others, and so far as like free, although it's not really free, I guess Grok does come as like a part of your check mark or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, from hearing from other people and stuff, like, it sounds like so far as free AIs go, really Grok isn't that bad comparatively speaking, and it's just that AI just really isn't all there yet. So like, I guess I could spend money and get like, really, but even then I'd probably almost have to get better at doing prompts. But like, so far as like a beginner one, I guess Grok's not bad. So
I've been using it as well. I've tried Chat GPT, and they won't draw pictures. Create images. So.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a lot of people say they had issues with the toilet thing because like the whole prompt here is that, like it's always some different person or thing or something on a toilet, usually with a newspaper because they're reading on the toilet, but they always have pants on. But like a lot of AIs won't do that because they're like, oh, it's inappropriate. Like I'm trying to draw like Jessica Alba taking a shit and like jerk off to it or something. Like I don't, you know what I mean?
Do you? Sorry to get down this rabbit hole. Do you specify it for it to look cartoonish?
Sort of. I think I do. I did initially, although sometimes it isn't cartoonish and it comes out that way, and I'm like, whatever, cool.
Yeah,
like
I like
I'm, yeah.
There's some chat saying I'm a homo.
Tyler's a homo too.
Okay. I don't know what to say about that. Or my wife. I'll prove it to you. Anyway.
Yeah. I have sex. All right, let's keep going through this, I guess. So influencers were texted by influenceable, telling them to help push back against government overreach, and told they'd be paid between several hundred and even $1,000 for each post, attempting to turn MAGA folks against RFK Jr. and Maha. So it just says it right here. You can see the excerpt. I'm not going to read it again. It's basically the same thing. The way Influenceable operates is simple. They develop comfy relationships with lobbying firms like Ameribev and Cart Choice, are potentially some examples, who are funded handsomely by massive corporations such as Coca-Cola and PepsiCo. They also develop relationships with influencers such as the ones listed above and pay them to push these lobbying groups' talking points. They're a middleman that makes a hell of a lot, essentially selling out our country. Every influencer content but influenceable met the same criteria, supposedly MAGA-aligned. This was all meant to manipulate their followers, which trust them for news and opinions, into siding with Big Soda. A grand total of 0 of them disclosed they were paid to push a stance on proposed regulations. Okay, I think that's kind of the gist on it. I don't really know how much we need to kick this dead horse. Essentially, that there are apps or, whatever you want to call it, sites, entities out there that will contact these influencers for said campaigns, advertising campaigns. Although it's kind of shifty whether you would consider this an advertising campaign or not, because this is like, it doesn't really disclose it as such and just kind of tricks you into thinking that's the case. So, any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on that?
Look,
do you like short, fat Asians?
Females.
Yeah.
You look at this, and by the way, when I see these, Epstein files phase 1 was a good thing to kind of keep in mind. And were they being paid? Influencers? I'm always suspicious with all of them. And look, we see the behind the scenes how Top Lobster works as an example, right? Be wary out there and skeptical. So these people, it's a lot of it, and then they're pushing, Massey getting primaried, and is it being paid? I mean, influence at some point. There's some social credit score. I mean, or I don't know. It's not necessarily money, but they get a lot of social credit for that as well. So all I'm saying with these people is I'm skeptical in the first place, and this seemed obvious. That's why it was so easy to find, I think, because it was just so obvious that it was being shielded for. I don't know. It's
usually fairly obvious when they are, but the problem is there's a lot of stupid people who don't catch this. And we say it's obvious, right. But me and you both run shows where we pay attention to this stuff, and it's like, whereas most people would probably just scroll through Twitter and then just see like one email's Chung post and be like, oh, okay, all right, and just keep moving. And I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but like those tweets, they kind of were a little bit confusingly worded. I mean, they all did say EBT. So if you're not stupid and or Snap or whatever, not EBT, my bad. But if you weren't like I don't know, if you really did take the time and with reading comprehension, you'd be like, oh, you'd get what they're saying. But some of the ways it was framed made it sound almost as if they were implying, or they were at least equating it with like things like, banning soda, because they kept referring to, I guess, like the Democrats did in New York, which I'm assuming it was some sort of ban or tax or something on soda.
Yeah, Bloomberg had done that years ago. And then there was this big thing and it was for certain cities or counties, had done this. There was a big one in, I think it was Philadelphia, I want to say, where one county, they would literally just go right across the street to buy their soda because it was so expensive. Anyway, they do these weird things. So I don't know, are these people couching it in a way that you try to get, like politically? It's the Daily Wire, selling chocolates and other things, gets you hyped up. It is weird, though. Did they confirm? I missed some of the text. Did they confirm that Pepsi was paying, or soda companies were paying?
Well, it was this I don't know if they confirmed it was Pepsi. I mean, I think we can kind of infer that, but I would assume it's just soda companies in general all have incentive. It was the influential company that then from there. I don't think I didn't see anything in here that goes into specifically who were there, the people paying them for this campaign. But so that they're the middleman between there. So I don't know what specific companies were, but I mean, we could assume
it's like a political PAC
companies.
where you put money into it, and then it's
it's like a lobbying. I guess they said something about lobbying groups that had something to do with it in there too. I think, or something like that. So I think that's how it's kind of a shell game there. Yeah.
When you read this, just from your libertarian background, agorist thought process, didn't you immediately go like, okay, something's really screwy just from that perspective, right? You're pushing EBT, you're doing this. It's like there was just already, I'm just like, okay, I don't even know what's going on here, but I'm already against whatever this is doing.
Which that's a good point. Even from like, are you almost implying that maybe there were some, as I said, like a lobbying? I think maybe that's what ticked your ears there. Is that the idea? Maybe some sort of government, leftovers from USAID, something? Because it's like even just that aside, even soda aside, government has there are people who stand to gain from soda being. Think how many people drink fucking soda. Right. That's a pretty big cut. And then think about the demographic of people who tend to drink soda. Right. Like, I mean, I'll be honest. There's a ton of people who drink soda. So I'd even say like upper class. I almost never drink soda. I drink maybe like a root beer once in a while. I like root beer. Root beer's yummy. But like every once in a great while, I don't drink soda regularly. I know a lot of people drink it every fucking day. I don't, but especially the poors. The poors drink that shit on the reg. Fucking get like goddamn 18 packs. Fucking throw them in your fucking cart and go.
Yeah. Pepsi and chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Pepsi and chicken. All right, let's get into the next one. One of your kind died, so let's talk about that. We got a who is this? We got a U.S. attorney, Jessica Aber, 43, found dead at Virginia residence. Says the police. Let's move over to here. Let's move over to this thread real quick. I think this shows a little bit more about the facts. So here's from Kyle Becker. So here's a broad. She's like almost cute, kind of like, I don't know, something's off about her. She looks like maybe some sort of genetic defect, something. But either way, you know what I mean? There's something's a little off. Like she's like cute, but like maybe with like a 0.5% downs in there or something. Yeah. Right? You see it? Yeah. Okay.
She's got like a little body and kind of a bigger head.
Yeah, something's off. But it's the dimensions. There you go. You got it. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. She almost has like pinheads. You know those weird deformed people that have the pinheads? It's almost like that. Yeah.
And it's bad to speak ill of the dead, but her eyes are a little far apart too.
Yeah. No, let's roast her. Dumb dead bitch. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure she was a very nice lady. Basic facts. Jessica the
attorney, I doubt it.
Yeah, probably, yeah, right. Fuck attorneys, right?
Let me just say real quick, since you're on this. I was in court Friday, and opposing party, we had like a mini trial, and she didn't have an attorney, and she was basically just trashing everything, and the judge was like, look, you can't come in here. You can't just say bad things, attorneys come in here, and they tell the truth. And then she looked at me almost like, the judge looked at me like, are we really going down this where we're saying attorneys tell the truth? It was really a weird moment, but we connected. So.
Like you guys are basically professional liars.
I know. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, even then, it's not professional lying because it's like, I guess even then you guys don't lie. I mean, I guess it depends on the situation. The idea is that you may not reveal the truth. Like, you couch it in certain ways. So it's very Jewy, very Jewy.
And on that, you are, as an example, if you cite, case law, and it's something that goes your way, you should be showing if it goes the other way, if there's different aspects to it. They don't like it if you just like try to pinpoint one thing and misrepresent, kind of hold the whole rulings as an example. I mean, I try to be straight. Anyway, I'm not trying to divert here, but yeah, she's a lying piece of shit, this Aber lady.
Well, she's dead, so.
Literally.
But she's an attorney, so she probably was a lying piece of shit. But basic fact, she was found dead at age 43 on the morning of Saturday. She was the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. On the morning of Saturday, March 22nd, at her home in Alexandria, police responded to a wellness check around 9:18 on Beverly Drive and found her unresponsive. No foul play is suspected at the time, and cause of death is pending an investigation by the medical examiner. Aber, appointed by President Biden in 2021, stepped down earlier this year to allow for a successor under President Trump. Known for her work on terrorism, white-collar crime, gang violence, and leaks of classified info, she was widely respected for her leadership, legal skill, and commitment to justice. Colleagues described her as a sharp, compassionate leader and mentor, dedicated to restoring trust in law enforcement and building community relationships. Her unexpected death has deeply impacted those who worked with her throughout her legal career. Let me see. Under update, 911 scanner for the Alexander Police Department listed at 8:18 a.m. on 3/22 states that police responded to an unresponsive person undergoing a reported cardiac arrest at 916 Beverly Drive. This is listed as U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber's home address. There's something going on here, so I don't know if this shows a... Here you go.
210 Alpha 211. Any additional units are back to assist fire for the cardiac arrest 916 Beverly.
Side note, she looks a lot better in that photo. I think she looks better smiling.
Yeah, someone said that she had a Chelsea Clinton look to her, and I agree.
She's like a cute Chelsea Clinton. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's keep going.
Drive, 916 Beverly Drive. Priority response is authorized 0918.
All right, well, this tells me nothing. This is just some fat black lady fucking saying that, like, there's something going on. So okay, this doesn't tell us anything. So I don't know if someone did call in or if it's just that this is just them, moving the, one of the cops on the scene, routing the message up or something. I don't know. I don't know if you probably, maybe you would know a little bit better when it comes to something like this. Does this tell us anything at all here or not really? Because I don't think this tells us anything.
I mean, all that the voice is saying there, it sounds like someone called in and said cardiac arrest, or maybe first responder said that.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting. So then even then, like a guess.
I mean, she's not calling in for cardiac arrest. I don't know. It didn't say who.
So this tells us nothing. So either way, we're still in the same position. She is very young. It's odd that she would die of it. But let's get back to this, because I think the implication here is it quote tweets something she worked on recently. This is APAC tracker. Here she is, Jessica D. Aber. She looks way cuter in that photo. Let's go back. All right, shit. Maybe perhaps we judged her too harshly. All right.
That's her own picture. The other ones were the press pushing it out. She's able to get something from back in the day.
Yeah, that's like getting all hyped about a fat chick's profile pic. You're like, look how big her boobs are. You're like, yeah, well, that's all she put in the photo, you dumbass.
Right. Natalie.
Here we go. She says, after we extradited this defendant from Israel, we pled guilty to recruiting/facilitating the illegal entry, or he pled guilty to recruiting/facilitating the legal entry of Israel's citizens into the United States with fraudulent tourists as visitor visas. This investigation reflected years of hard work with DOJ crime division, Washington, D.C., cops, and some other fucking something, DOLOIG, the Office of the Inspector General Office, essentially. And so she was quote tweeting, foreign national pleads guilty to role in immigration fraud and money laundering scheme. So this is November, so about a year and some change ago. So I know it's 2023, November 2023. So we're like a year and a half ago, basically. Because in October, November, that's 11. Yeah, so that's about a year and 4 months ago is when this happened. So, I mean, I don't know, connecting these two together, it might be pushing it a little bit, but I don't know, worthwhile that, knowing that this is a broad who clearly was involved in a pretty big case that was preventing Israeli citizens from illegal access into the country, which clearly was some sort of odd Israeli scheme to get in the United States, which why there would be an Israeli scheme into the United States is beyond me. I don't know. I mean, I can make some guesses, but they're definitely not some refugee community that's desperately trying to get out of the country or something like that. So I don't really understand. I mean, this isn't like a Mexican-Cuban thing. This is Israelis, which essentially are Eastern Europeans that are usually of like decent, in a decent country somewhat, like a, second to first world country, I guess you could say. So odd. Any thoughts on that?
When you were first going down, what she was working on, I started to have those ideas. I mean, look, 43, she's dead. You never know what something. She doesn't look healthy. I mean, she looks like that skinny fat type of thing. She's maybe doesn't do any workout. Maybe she's thin and everything because she doesn't have a good heart. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. But it also reminds me of if this is Russia, where certain prosecutors are all of a sudden having heart attacks. You're like, oh, interesting. They're being, shot up with something, something to induce a heart attack, in the spycraft world or something like that. It could be. I mean, look, there's this is really an interesting one here that she's connected with this Israeli thing. I was just looking at her website as well. She just some other top secret national defense info. I'll have to go through that now. That's fascinating. Actually, read the U.S. Attorney's report there.
All right. Well, yeah, it is. It is weird. I'm like, there's like a. That does seem kind of like an important case, and I really feel like. I mean, obviously, we just kind of just learned about it. We don't know anything more about it. We just know what we just told you guys about it. But I mean, I don't know. As I kind of got at, like the idea that there would be some sort of scheme to get Israelis over to the United States, and some sort of immigration scheme illegally, essentially. It's like what the fuck is going on here? Like, why? Why would Israelis be trying to come to the United States like this? Well,
also, her stepping down willingly seems, I don't know. Was she really? Maybe I'm just reading into all this kind of stuff. But you're typically not. You've seen this. People not stepping down willingly. It's like, or they're retiring in kind of like.
Isn't it customary though? Isn't it usually customary when it comes to a lot of those positions? Those lawyerly appointed positions.
Isn't it more exciting if we say it's not?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just assume it's customary that when they're going to want to swap out, that you instead of fighting it. But I have no idea. I mean, I guess it depends on the position. All right, let's get a little Sandy Hook. What do you think of that?
Sure.
I'm not supposed to say that. Damn it, I fucked up. This thing's gone now. But with that, guys, make sure to follow us on Rumble because between me and Austin, a program to hoax. This is from my buddy Jolly on Klebold, so we'll go through this together. I said, haven't had a thread in a minute, so this might be clunky. Bear with me. This thread in the spirit of Program to Kill will demonstrate Adam Lanza being a possible subject of mind control. So here's a photo of him, this goofy fuck, who was like emaciated as shit and supposedly who could barely carry a rifle, yet somehow fucking blew away a shitload of people. So all right, let's keep going. For those who haven't read Program... Oh, fuck, I didn't mean to click on that. For those who haven't read Program to Kill, a common theme throughout the book is dissociative states, DID/MPD, pedophilia, and satanic cults. All right, we're not going to read through all that. I don't think any of that. I think that's just providing backing up that concept that this is a common theme in the book. I would recommend it. Here you go. You mentioned Aquino in here. You can see Aquino, which we will get into in a minute here in a little bit, where I have that as one of the articles. We're going to go into something about Aquino. But anyways, point being is this kind of gets into these themes. For starters, Adam never spoke until an absurdly older age. He never spoke and would zone out often. For those who are, in the MK Ultra zone and know a lot about DID and stuff, that's kind of a tell. The whole zoning out thing, the whole being good at dissociating. His barber thought he couldn't speak, and Richard Novia even said he would completely shut down. So this is an extremely dissociative child, is essentially the point.
Do you know how old he was when he did speak? Because I know there's late talkers. I think Einstein was said to be a late talker.
Let me see if it says. It doesn't say here. I mean, maybe it will say. I don't know. That might be something that Jolly on Klebold knows, the writer of this, who's, by the way, my video guy, for those who are unaware. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know when he was old. I knew he was old as shit. I know we probably said it in our series forever ago. I can't remember exactly. So, sorry, did I cut you off a little bit there? Were you going to say something else?
I just had that question. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, okay. The days leading up to the shooting, the whole town of Newtown heard a hum, which caused Adam to have visual and auditory hallucinations. A few days before he even bumped his head, Adam was also part of a Yale child study. So here we go. Lanza, I'm actually going to read these excerpts now. Lanza wrote, I have images of distorted faces flashing through my mind, noting that the faces are fairly mundane and they sporadically, rapidly appear without any context and then disappear. Though he referred to them as mundane, they frightened him. He said, I get slightly paranoid over them, and noted that afterwards he had to search his bedroom to make sure that no one was there. He referred to these as hallucinations, putting the word in quotation marks as if he wasn't sure if they were really hallucinations. He then went on to describe what apparently was his first significant psychotic episode. The incident was so surreal that I only remember a small amount of details. Basically, I began to see, in quotes, many different things. Although I know that none of it was actually real. But by the way, I say in quotes, but this whole thing is in quotes. By in quotes, it means he's putting in quotes, kind of like kind of how someone would say, like kind of implying like, I don't know, begin to see like this. So he's putting quotes around see in his quotes, just to be clear. Although I knew that none of it was actually real, it came as close to being real as it could be for me without it being physically tangible. I heard screaming around me and had an overwhelming sense that there was someone dead behind me. I kept seeing silhouettes of flickering people everywhere. I felt like I had to cry. The entire ordeal persisted for about 25 minutes and then sort of faded away. Prior to it happening, I had never had that sort of delusional hysteria before. And this is in 2015. In this passage, Lanza recorded both auditory and visual hallucinations. His comment that he only remembered a little of the experience indicates that there was much more to it than he reported. His previous experiences of seeing faces that caused him to become paranoid apparently were the gradual onset of psychosis that culminated in a dramatic psychotic break. These psychotic symptoms, along with his poverty of speech, flattened affect, and other factors discussed earlier, all support a diagnosis of schizophrenia. And when Adam was 14, shortly after Ryan had left for college, Peter and Nancy took him to Yale's Child Study Center for further diagnosis. The psychiatrist who assessed Adam, Robert King, recorded that he was a pale, gaunt, awkward young adolescent standing rigidly with downcast gaze and declined to shake hands. He also, and this is a different excerpt, Kathleen Koenig, a nurse specialist in psychiatry at Yale, gave some follow-up treatment. While seeing her, Adam tried Lexapro, which Fox had prescribed. Nancy reported, on the third morning, he complained of dizziness. By that afternoon, he was disoriented. His speech was disjointed. He couldn't even figure out how to open his cereal box. He was sweating profusely. It was actually dripping off his hands. He said he couldn't think. He was practically vegetative. All right, that's a lot that I threw at you. Any thoughts, Tyler? I don't know if you've ever gone down the rabbit hole that is Shmandy Shmook. Trying to be careful not to lose this, but rumble, 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 guys. But any thoughts on that? Have you really gone down this road? Are you ready to become unpersoned yet, or what?
I listened to your series. Was it with this guy, not that guy, Jolly Young Klebold?
Yeah,
did
same
it?
guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I listened to it. I enjoyed it. I don't, my questions. I know they're, the concept there is that you're doing mind control, whatever, to this kid, and maybe he's being programmed. What's the purpose of the program? Is it simply, is it gun rights type of thing, pushing that, or, taking them away? Or what's the purpose of programming a child like this to do unspeakable acts? Yes. Okay.
Like literally all the above. I don't know. It really is. You go down these rabbit holes, there's a lot of times sometimes it's like when situations like this, you're like, if we are to presume that something like that happened, we don't know. Is it like, was this intended? Was it like, they were trying something and someone freaked the fuck out and, in like broke programming or something? It's hard to tell. I mean, especially with a situation like that. I mean, think about, I almost lean towards, if I had to guess, which is completely a pull on my ass, I would guess if we're going down this route, if we're thinking, some sort of MK Ultra or something, I would guess this was along the lines of, he fucking didn't do what he was supposed to. Like, he fucking snapped or something like that. Because it just seems the cover up that went along with it, and also the like, you're not allowed to touch this narrative, like, to such an insane degree. Yeah. It almost makes me think something went wrong. Because, like, if this was something that was planned, you would think it would be less that. Although that could be the purpose. It could be the whole purpose is that now we have this untouchable thing. How dare you ever say anything about this? Because children, and it's so awful of you because parents, and they're being abused or whatever, and now we have a precedent to unperson a bunch of people. Maybe that was the purpose all along. I have no idea. It's really kind of hard to tell, but either way, we can look at things about these people and go, whoa, what's going on? Why is this happening to them? Like as with the Yale treatment, the drugs, the psychotic breaks. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, he could just been a psycho. But I mean, the hum too was another thing that he was like complaining, and him and others, I guess, were complaining about a hum in the area. Which, if you go super down the fucking down the rabbit hole there, that's when you get into like voice of God and like stuff like type technology. And that's the thing where there have been other killers and stuff that have complained about similar type things, and like, hearing voices in their head, or hearing, like whines, or like kind of like some sort of tone that just drives them fucking nuts. And I mean, there's also, when you get into like the research of MK Ultra stuff, I can't spout off any of the sources today, but for those who are interested, go check out like Aberration in the Heartland of the Real has a giant section on all that like research. And it's like, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff about like voice of God, stuff of them like research. You can find actual research papers from like MK Ultra spook docs, like of looking into shit like this. Like, well, if I put electrode in their brain and do this, or if I put a dental implant and it makes this auditory tone, or if I play this tone, like a ELF, there's all different like frequencies they've played with to try to fuck with the brain. Now I'm no scientist, so I don't know to what degree if that's legit or not. But the idea that they've tried all these things makes me a little freaked out because they're like, well, maybe one of these fucking does it. And when you see somebody like Lanza, like you see all the photos with his eyes fucking bugging out of his head, you're like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? And you do start to notice a lot of these weird spooks that have similar type things. Like I know I always like to make fun of when we talk about like egg or like UAP disclosure. Like if you see some of those weird people that pop up in there, like the main doctor guy, which I can't remember his name, Stephen Greer. And then there was also another one recently who was the guy who supposedly like got the egg or whatever. Both of them eyes are bugging out of their fucking head, look like meth heads. And you're like, dude, what is going on here? Like what? And it seems to be a commonality. It's all these weird drugged up weird fucks when you get into weird spooky shit. So
it'd be kind of like where the MK Ultra or any of these mind control things that they're working with people, and our brains are very complicated. So maybe Lanza or someone else is like a defective product in a sense, right? You're going out, you can't control everything, and maybe that's the problem we have with the movies, which is you see something and it's mind control or whatever, and it's very precise to everything, and it's probably not what's happening. Yeah. So I would understand that. The one thing I have dug into a little bit more with the hook of the Sandys is the lawsuits with Alex Jones, and I'll just briefly mention those real quick, which is it goes back to like shysters like Robert Barnes and some of these attorneys, where they get a default judgment on the case, which just hardly ever happens. And I know that they say, oh, we've got jurisdiction, 2 different judges against him. Alex Jones hired pieces of crap, okay, and he didn't do what he's supposed to do, and so then all this shit comes down on him, and he it almost makes me wonder. You have to be, I don't know, I tell you, because he hasn't appealed these rulings either. So how incompetent is he, or is he part of this whole ploy? I mean, I don't know. I know people like to give him sympathy, but I don't really have much for it on that.
Yeah, the more I go down the InfoWars, and I say that I haven't really even spent that much time. Like it's I guess it's just kind of like everything I've learned about InfoWars really has been kind of like against my will, or I guess not against my will. Has either been against my will or just like not something I looked for. Just happened to be somebody I scrolled through or known someone or this or that. But it's like, even I say the more I look into it, while I'm not really looking into it, just kind of this information coming to me, it just feels fake. It all feels like the soap opera going off to the side. It just feels fake. I mean, I'm sure you've heard me talk a lot about like the swatting and stuff. And I don't know, I've had other people that recently, like, I guess like BX, who's a friend of mine. I mean, she claims she got too. I mean, I'm a little bit more believable of that. I mean, I think there could be a mixture of this being fake and real, or something. Obviously that one guy that started.
I know Orange. Did you see all the videos of the swatting? No, like care. One of them's like, I got swatted, and it's just a police officer knocking on the door, going, "I'm just doing a wellness check." And I'm like, okay, let's not everyone get into the swatting thing.
I mean, that is the thing too. Like, what even is a swatting? And then we had some people who were like, "That's not a SWAT team." I'm like, that's not what a swatting is, you stupid fuck. Well, I mean, like, kind of, not really. It's just the idea that like someone calls the cops and goes, "So and so is trying to kill his whole family," and then they bust in,
Which can be really bad. There was a Netflix documentary about one of these first cases, and this guy was doing the SWAT, and his family ends up, the cops go in and they went into the wrong house, and someone's like, "What?" It's all confusing. Look at the guy, Duncan Lemp, right?
Yep. Yeah.
That's what can happen. So.
Yeah. By the way, I completely dropped the ball when he had his recent 5-year anniversary. For those who are interested, I have a whole playlist on Duncan Lemp, so go check that out. I've had his girlfriend on, the one who was in the shooting with me. That was probably one of my most important episodes, I think. Up there with like the Tanya Yiki episodes. So go check that out. You do have a
proclivity for these widows.
Come on. Yeah. Oh buy low, sell high. No, I'm just kidding. That's fucked up. That's a joke.
And our Aubrey lady, she's not coming on now. Maybe her husband would come talk to you.
Oh,
the U.S. Attorney General that does that.
I'd love to have him on. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just because I have a soft spot. I mean, I don't know, maybe because it's like both of these, like between the Yiki thing and then like Yiki had a young family. Duncan Lemp was starting his family. Something about that. Yeah. And, it's not even so much about the widow as it is really like I'm more like see it from like holy shit like as the man really. It's like I'm seeing it like I don't know. These were both between Duncan Lemp and Yiki. They were both kind of people just trying to live their lives, do the right thing, and fucking, I mean, Although Duncan Lemp, it wasn't like he was like, I don't think he was in the process of doing anything like crazy heroic or anything. If anything, it was just that like they overstepped like crazy for some fucking reason. Whereas, Yiki was more. But either way, point being is just normal guys living their lives, had young children who were getting ready to, have families or young families, and boom, gone. So I don't know, it kind of fucks me.
It goes back to Koresh when someone was saying he's alive too. Of when and why are they doing these raids at the time they're doing? It just doesn't always seem necessary. You're putting yourself and your police officers even in a precarious situation. It's just not necessary. Middle of the night, surprise. Hey, they've got a bunch of guns. Oh my God, we may have a reaction. So,
All right, let's keep going in this. All right, Adam also talked about rape quite a bit. In one case, almost verbatim to how James Holmes described it, who was another shooter. This is a commonality. Let me see if I can just find. I'm not going to read the whole article, but you can see here goes Holmes complained. This was the Batman shooter guy everyone refers to with the crazy hair. Mr. Holmes explained that the mind rapist was a psychiatrist. And then we have this is back to I believe this is Lanza again. You can see Lanza here. He's referring to, he liked to take the word therapist and break it into the rapist. So, for example, therapists are secular priests who assert that they have some truth. If your values deviate, then you are wrong. Hence, the rapist. They impose their values into you through their mind fucking. So this is like, quotes from him, from Lanza. So this is how he thought of psychiatrists, which is probably not entirely wrong. And then here's a little thing from him about the trolley rule. We are those that are willing to die or kill to end the mind rape of our children. The war for your brain has begun. Which I don't know if he's going to get into this, but I believe, if I recall correctly, I think there were some like weird YouTube videos that were attributed to Alonzo. This might be one of them, I think, actually. With 4 subscribers and 2,500 views, that would check out. Like, who the fuck's actually going to subscribe to Adam Lanza? But you will watch the video. So anyways, this seemed to be how, there was a few videos that seemed to be that was the angle he's getting at, almost as if he was like, oh, I'm going to kill them so that like, that they're, prevent them from being, these kids from have their minds fucked with later. So obviously not very well guy. I know when we talked about this, what's his face, Jolyon kind of collected, or, kind of connected the two here between them. I don't know to what degree that's important. I don't know. You'd have to look at the time. I think, wasn't it you'd probably know this. I believe it was Arrested Development had the mind rapist joke, right? Or the rapist, right?
He was an analyst. He was an
anal
analyst.
ISIS. Yeah,
is an analyst and a therapist, and so he became an anal rapist, which said anal rapist.
Okay. Well, I'm wrong, because that was my thing. I was like, I swear that was the joke, and I'm like, well, then okay, then I guess it stands that the connection between the two, calling their psychiatrist the rapist instead of therapists, or their therapist the rapist instead of therapists. I guess kind of it is weird that they both would refer to them as that.
Well, so look, is he just being a troll and funny? Because there was a Saturday Night Live skit. It was doing Jeopardy, and it was, I'm trying to remember the character that Sean Connery, I think.
Oh, did he do the rapist there?
Well, yeah, it's like, therapist, and he said he puts it all, so it's always like,
I'll take the rapist for 100, Alex.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, okay, yeah, that checks out. I mean, if maybe there was one where they did that. I mean, I always thought this one was kind of weak, but it is interesting. It's still an interesting little tidbit that hey, yeah, this is a thing they did. Both these shooters described their therapist as rapists because they were raping their minds. So that is odd. The two people that are clearly deranged would do so. And it says, well, Adam was a loner, so no satanic cult stuff. Right? Wrong. Allegedly, he ran a Satanist website. Even said he was in Louisiana in the FBI files. Allegedly. So here's from Daily Mail. I am the devil. Former classmate reveals school gunman had online devil worshipping page as childhood barber recounts how he never spoke and just stared at floors. Creepy. Lanza's worshipping page had the word devil written in red, Gothic-style letters around a black background. Trevor L. Todd told the National Enquirer something which he said was weird and gave him the chills. The FBI are trying to piece together a smashed-up hard drive to see if his online footprint will reveal any motive for the killing, but they strongly believe he made use of devil-worshipping and suicide sites and boasted of his murder plans on message forums. Adam Lanza's childhood barber, Bob Scuba, I don't know why that's a funny name, revealed today that Nancy Lanza stopped bringing her son in for haircuts a few years ago, so he thought he had moved away from the area. Okay, weird. I don't. Obviously, we can't derive anything much from that, other than I guess he was into Satanism. But yeah, weird shit. Which I don't know if Tyler, to what degree you give that any credence. I know a lot of people. I don't know where you are on what side when it comes to satanic panic type stuff. Or do you think this is? I kind of think that mostly Satanism is kind of some glowy op, although to some degree there's an organic thing going on. Which we'll kind of get into the glowy op of Satanism in a bit when we talk about Aquino, because that was literally a glowy Satanist. So, yeah.
So my thought, well, as someone, so I'm 53.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a religious home, and
yes, you probably remember Satanic Panic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And when you, your parents like to scare you, right? Scare you straight. That's the kind of the whole process. Don't have, what was the movie that they had too about reefer madness? The things are gonna, it's the same thing I said about Daily Wire. They scare you about stuff, and then you take on their ideology instead. That's a lot of what the Satanic Panic was. It was just it was easy to sell, right? You do it, and then parents are loving it because it helps protect their kids. So
Yep.
who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously I think there's obviously a mixture. So you hide things in absurdity, which I'm of the opinion that that's what a lot of Satanism is. You hide in absurdity, and there was, I think, probably a genuine contingent of Satanic Panic where people ran around with. I remember my mom when I was a kid stopped. I think I got to book 4 of Harry Potter, and then my mom's like, "You're not allowed to read this anymore because it's Harry Potter, it's witchcraft." Yeah. So there was that shit going on where everyone was, "Ooh, Satanic Panic, oh, all this satanic stuff." And a lot of moms were doing shit like that. So there was, I think, a genuine satanic panic, but I also think there was genuine things to panic about, but they were hidden in the panic. So,
yeah, and it's a good way to hide, right? You flood the market, and then it's all, oh, look at this, just nothing to be worried about. And look, when you have kids, there's nothing wrong with trying to protect them as long as possible to an extent. And we have that person on Tower Gang that we were looking at, the satanic TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
First of all, looking wise, I wouldn't want my kid to be that. I don't want my kid acting that way either. That's just that's ridiculous.
No, absolutely. All right, and it's speculation about who did it, but Adam was almost certainly sexually abused. So we see here former St. Rose priest arrested in internet sting. If I recall correctly, I don't know if it'll go into in the other excerpts, but that was his priest. So it was diddling kids. So here we go. Former St. Rose priest arrested in internet sting. White Plains, New York. A Connecticut priest working at a Catholic high school was removed from his job Saturday and ordered to undergo psychiatric treatment after his arrest in a law enforcement sting targeting pederasts. So pederasts being 13 and above kind of deal. And here we go. Psychiatrist Paul Fox, who treated Adam Lanza and Waikato patients guilty of sexual assault. So who treated Adam Lanza? Okay, so the psychiatrist. So not only was this guy's fucking priest diddling kids who so we don't know if he diddled them, but then his psychiatrist later, who obviously keep in mind he referred to therapists, psychiatrists, whatever as the rapists. This guy was found guilty of sexual assault later. I don't think he was ever found guilty of assaulting Adam, but we can just kind of assume, this guy's priest is molesting kids. He's one of the kids that are around him. Then we have this psychiatrist who's molesting kids, and he's one of the kids around him. So I don't know. At a certain point, you're I don't know. I guess we just got to decide how cute he is. I guess really.
He was a PDF's wet dream. It sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have the weird. He almost had the kid look to him. He had the weird little bowl cut type deal. Yeah. Also, following PTK thesis, a lot of serial killers like Bundy, Gacy, and Ramirez wanted to be police/military or had connections. Nancy's brother was a highway trooper who, none other, trained Nancy with firearms. Also, grand jury material for what jury? I don't really know what that means. Let's read the excerpt, see if that makes more sense. The way he worded that confused me. Champion had just retired as a full-time Kingston police officer and is currently working part-time. The Kingston police chief says Nancy grew up in the town and lived next to her brother before moving to Connecticut. Neighbors of Champion have refused to comment on the shooting. So, okay, she used to live next to her brother when they were in Connecticut. Her brother was a cop, is implication. And then what is that? Grant Page? I don't know what the fuck also grand jury material for what? I don't understand that. I don't know how these things are connected, to be honest. So that one confused me. Sorry. All right. Either way, I don't know if anything in there, you caught anything in there. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what he means by. Does this make sense to you? Also, grand jury material, and he just shows a picture that says grand jury material. Does that make sense to you? Is there anything significant going on?
We're not going to see grand jury material, so maybe it's indicating. Look, I like this guy, Jolly and Klebold, but I do remember your series and being. He likes to pull threads and tie stuff, and you did a real good job. This is one thing that I really noticed at the time. People check out Jose's series because you do try to say this seems implausible, but it's fun to go down these holes. So I do remember this. He does like to pull threads. I don't know. I'm not following this one, honestly.
Yeah, I think I'm not following the second part. I get the first part. I just don't understand what he meant by the grand jury material. I get the first part. He's implying, once again, as you said, like it is like he's tagging these threads. I mean, I don't think he's even saying anything conclusive here. He's just saying, he's kind of pointing out, he's starting from the premise of like, hey, we have this book called Program to Kill, and in it makes a lot of connections to like Satanism, mind control, this, that, like being programmed to kill, and all the different characteristics that you typically see amongst these programmed killers. And so now he's just kind of going through his thread, and we're pointing out, commonalities between a lot of these things. As he said, serial killers like Bundy, Gacy, Ramirez wanted to be police or had connections to police / military. So that's like a commonality. And so he's making, while this is weak, he's pointing out that they used to live next to the brother. The brother also trained his mom in firearms. So, and the idea that like you could probably have trained Adam as well, I guess is the implication. Also, there is some weird stuff. I can't recall the specifics of it, that there might have been some sort of, gun running something or other going on. So I don't know if the implication is that there.
Well,
but
yeah, it's saying it's like there's grand jury material associated with them.
Yeah.
What's the grand jury? We wouldn't know, but who knows what's in there? It could be amazing info or not.
All right, Nancy Lanza had some very odd notes, and Adam's great-grandfather was directly connected to Project Underwood, Nazi infiltration. Well, that's interesting. I don't know. Obviously, now that almost implies like Project Monarch type stuff, which that's extremely speculative when you get into Project Monarch territory. But there have been a lot of people, which actually I do want to let you guys know, someone suggested recently this guy named Gray, who I guess claims to have been a Monarch victim, a Project Monarch victim. I'm like 6 hours or I don't know, 4 or 5 hours deep into his like 9-hour story that he did on a podcast. So I'm just kind of like vetting him before I bring him on the show. I might end up bringing him on. Obviously, I would very much caveat with this with like, I have no idea if this is legit or not. So far, everything he's gone into, none of it's too far beyond the pale that I'd be like, there's no way this is true. I mean, it is pretty crazy, but a lot of it does match up with stuff I've researched before. So I don't know. Well, either way, that would definitely be something I caveated heavily, but Monarch is a very speculative. Anyways, just to...
Let me just say real quick, it's kind of back. So I mentioned Jolly on, ties all the stuff. But in his defense, I mean, do you have connections with Project Underwood and all these other things? It is odd that you're finding all these ridiculous connections to all these. And by the way, child rape by your priest or your therapist, alleged, could be worse than drug mind control stuff. I mean, that can really fuck a kid up, so...
Oh, I agree.
Sorry,
I think it would fuck you up. No, that was good. No, you're fine. I agree. Yeah, that would really fuck you up. I mean, if anything, I think that's what fucks you up the most. And that's kind of the implication of Project Monarch, is that usually, I mean, it's basically about mind controlling children essentially, and there's a lot of sexual stuff implicated there, because the idea is that essentially a lot of what's implied, by things like Monarch, which is kind of semi-confirmed. There's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, I'll look into this more later, I guess, but either way, the point being is that there was lots of research that came out of the MK Ultra time that found if your goal is to do some sort of MK Ultra something or other, program something, somebody do something, the earlier you get them, the better. Yeah. And if you are able to apply incredible trauma to them early on, you're essentially able to do things like trauma bond. For example, you could have someone do awful, horrible things to a child and have some other person come in and be the savior, who also probably ends up doing awful, horrible things to the child. But now you get to be positioned as a savior. You have trauma bonded with them. Now it's more of like point being is like, this is sick, fucked up stuff. The idea that like you can control, and essentially what I'm getting at with the German connection, the Project Underwood, that is commonly a thing that comes up in Monarch, is that it's generational. So usually it's something that like these Monarch kids are usually somebody who's like, oh yeah, my grandpa was in Paperclip or whatever, and usually stuff that's kind of connected to that like World War II era where there was a lot of German, type stuff going, a lot of the people coming over. So yeah, it seems to come out of that milieu of people is where this Project Monarch seems the commonalities we see is like it's generational. So it's usually you see people from like World War II, maybe a little bit before, a little bit after, like their grandpas, that then initiate them into the system or whatever. I know it's convoluted, but either way, that's kind of like it is interesting to see like, oh shit, we're seeing his great grandpa or his great grandpa being involved in some sort of Nazi bullshit. So. Here's, I guess these are notes by the mom. I don't really know what to make of these. All right. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that at all. Let me see. State of Connecticut. I don't even know what any of this shit is. Audacity. Okay, this is too confusing for me. What is this? All right, Project Underworld. Or I guess it's Underworld, not Project Underwood. That makes it creepier. Nazi spies in New York. To Oni, it was obvious. Nazi agents had infiltrated the port of New York. Only the mob had the power to hunt them down. Here at the Fulton Fish Market, the U.S. Navy orchestrated one of the most unusual alliances of World War II that remained a secret until 1977, when author Rodney Campbell uncovered the classified Herland's investigative report, a 101-page summary of the Navy's involvement in Operation Underworld. Okay, well, so it sounds like the Operation Underworld was... I guess not literally Nazis infiltrating the infiltrating New York. Okay, and I guess Nazis versus the mob is the implication here. Okay, I don't know. I mean, obviously this is the first I've even heard of this, so take that with that much certainty. But either way, super interesting. Here you go. The task of penetrating the fish market fell to Commander Charles Radcliffe Hoffenden, the swashbuckling leader of Oni's investigative unit. Oh my God, Jeff, shut the fuck up. You hear him?
No, not at all. I don't know.
Okay, all right. I have a cat in the background just going, meow.
No, I hear it. I was being sarcastic.
Okay.
I'm more interested how you named your cat Jeff.
Jeff? Oh, it's my daughter named it.
It's like Hollywood. This is what cracks me up. People in Hollywood, celebrities, they name their animals like Jeff, and then their kids like Apple, and you're like, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, yeah. My daughter
Scout.
Apple named it.
Yeah, okay. My daughter Scout named Penelope. Yeah. The other cat. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my daughter Southeast. Yeah. She didn't. What was it like? Northwest is what Connie is. What,
yeah.
All right.
That's right.
This guy. All right, so let's go to the next one. Who is the grandpa? The grandpa Sox Lanza. Oh, that's a fun first name. That's his great grandpa. So let me see. Sox Lanza. Trying to see who he is. Joe Sox balked at the prospects of facing Anastasia's explosive temper and legendary trigger finger. Furthermore, Lanza lacked the influence to cross the ethnic divide into Irish-controlled Hell's Kitchen. According to Sox Lanza, there was only one man capable of snapping the whip in the entire underworld. That man was New York's imprisoned Emperor of Vice, Lucky Luciano. Okay, well, this guy is some sort of mob type stuff. I don't know if they're implying he was intelligence. I don't think it really spells it out for you here, honestly. Actually, let me see. There we go. I should have finished reading the other one because it goes into that. Here we go. With the help, the task of penetrating the fish market fell to Commander Charles Radcliffe, the swashbuckling leader of Oni's investigative unit. With the help of the head of the New York Rackets Bureau, Murray Gerfian, Hoffenden contacted the fishy czar of the Fulton Fish Market, Joseph Sox Lanza, a hulking 250-pound mafia bulldozer in the Luciana crime family, whose resume included arrests for burglary, extortion, and homicide. Okay, all right, here we go. We got it. All right, so his great-grandpa was literally mob-affiliated and clicked into some sort of fucking, essentially... He was an informant in some sort of Fed shit, essentially an asset in some sort of Fed shit is what this is. So here we go. We're seeing mob intelligence overlaps here, and that's where his great-grandpa's at. So that's interesting. Obviously, they were multiple generations away from this, so means less. But if you are interested in mind control, Project Monarch, those sorts of things, a little interesting. So here we go. Was Adam Lanza programmed to kill? You tell me. I'm not watching this 12-minute video. You guys are welcome to... Here we go. He put Project Underwood again. He spelled it wrong as Underwood and then spelled it wrong again the second time.
Can't help it.
Yeah. Can't help it. All right. Well, that's interesting. Any thoughts on that? Do you think, what do you think? Do you think it was all entirely fake?
Oh, jeez.
They're all lying?
I don't know. I do have problems with going down the actor part of it, but even then, I don't know. The most fascinating part about your series with him and just reading all that too was all these connections to Lanza, and you start to go, okay, something's truly effed about this person. And if you're, the parents aren't doing shit about it, although they're trying to get him into with his, his therapist and his priest who are then, making it worse. So I don't know. It's all crappy. I feel bad for the kids, the legitimate ones that died.
I will say, like, while it is sound incredibly schizo to say Project Monarch, considering what Project Monarch is implied to be, it's like, even after listening to, like, Gray's story, I mean, looking at Lanza's life, there are so many, like, similarities to, like, what, like, he implies, and then also, like, kind of what you would assume a monarch life would be like. I mean, hell, you just mentioned yourself, 2 separate individuals that were molesting this child in different areas. I mean, he's got like a cop, brother, that he lived next to. I mean, there's, great grandpa who was a fucking, who was, a mobster, clicked into the fucking intel during some sort of op to find Nazis. Like, I don't know, there's a lot there to be like, obviously, it's all just speculative, just connections, but all the elements are there. And it is like, it's a lot of weird elements for a very weird thing. And then you add into the fact that, like, obviously we all know how this ended with a bunch of children dead. You're like, yo, what the fuck? Maybe somebody snapped. I mean, I lean towards probably a snap. That makes more sense to me, but I don't know. We'll probably never, ever know. Either way, it is an interesting thing to spin our wheels about.
Well, once again, it goes with COVID, all these other things where the government or the news media or YouTube tries to narrate and curate the story so much that then when you pull on little things, you're not able to actually have these conversations. And since you can't have them, it leads to more speculation, unfettered. And so, that's why it would be great to just be able to talk about all this stuff freely. And then you can hash it out and, what's real, what's not, and all that. So they being, and this goes back to the JFK stuff, the whole idea of conspiracy theory. If you hide it like that, and then when people want to ask questions, well, now you're crazy for asking questions. And then, you look like the crazy one, and they are setting that up. They're gaslighting in a sense. So,
yeah. And they've just been forward about everything going on, released all the information, I think we'd probably, I'm sure there were probably, other things that were, let's say secure tapes or whatever that they probably could have released that could get us to, but it's the cover up that gets people always suspicious. So it's like, if there is no cover up, if you're just forward with everything, although even that can be a little bit misleading, because I don't know if you've been paying attention there. I don't have a thread or article or anything, so this isn't even really like a full-on topic, but I was just thinking about it now. The MLK thing, have you been seeing that they were getting ready to drop the MLK files? They were talking about it recently?
Yeah, well, yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
But the family, I guess, is actually pushing back and doesn't want that. But while it is like, a lot of people might be like, oh, what the hell? They're not. It's like, okay, but like, if you realize that like the feds were illegally spying on this guy, and like, yeah, and a lot of people, and I kind of agree. I'm actually more of an X fan than I am an MLK fan. MLK is kind of a commie faggot in my opinion. But either way, it's like he got illegally like surveilled by the FBI, and it's like, kind of completely fair for the family to be like, yeah, I don't know, I'd prefer my like dad or grandpa's, I don't know, all the feds, recording him, fucking hookers or whatever he was doing. I'd prefer you guys just to keep that to yourselves. Right. I don't know. I feel like that's perfectly. I don't know, if you got illegally surveilled by the FBI, I feel like it'd be like, yeah, maybe don't release all that info. That's kind of fucked up. Like, you shouldn't have been doing it in the first place.
There's that, but then I think the reality is a lot of the family, I don't know, I want to say grifts, but there's this. He is lionized. I mean, we actually have a day of remembrance for him. And maybe if you start to, and it would be perfectly fine to say, look, he's a flawed individual, but he was a reverend. And so he's really not a great guy in a lot of, ways. So I think there's some of that they don't want their image to be rightfully, maybe chipped off the block here. So I don't know that I trust them so much as that they're doing this all, altruistically. I think there's a little bit of they need their own pyramid or their I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I'd say it's fair.
They need their empire intact.
Either way, I get it. It's fair. I mean, it's a fair idea that like, maybe. Like, and I do, like, I don't necessarily think the public is entitled to that information. Like, really, I guess.
I get it. I like where you're going here. It's like illegally surveilling that. If, for instance, we're going to court over this, that's not coming in. So
Yeah, which is like, yo, dude, you recorded me banging a prostitute. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, clearly I didn't want that to be, broadcasted publicly.
Right.
And
Banging
you shouldn't have been
whores.
watching that.
Was he beating a few people up too? I mean,
Something like that. I think he had like a thing with hookers and I don't know.
You gotta
something.
slap
I
him
don't
around
know.
a bit,
Yeah, slapping broads. Something. I don't fucking know. Like, yeah, he was apparently
he
not
was
the greatest
killed
guy.
by the FBI.
Yeah, that too, though. Yeah. So that is like, I don't know. It's almost like this. They can almost play hide the ball, where they can go, "Oh, we're just not releasing information because of this." But it's like, yeah, I do think they killed him. Like, two things can be true at once. He can be a giant piece of shit, and the feds probably killed him. So,
I don't know if he was a giant piece of shit, but there's a duality to him, right? His image and a lot of things he said. Okay, I could get with there maybe with you, but then he was also this. It's Nelson Mandela. I mean, Mandela, had some good things, but he was also a commie piece of shit. So.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's go ahead and get into. I guess probably this will be like the second last story. I have a little bookend that we'll cover real quick because I promised Bobo McHugh I'd rectify some wrongs from her earlier story. But this isn't actually an old story, but I wanted to go into it because I have a feeling, I don't know when, that we may end up getting another story along these lines. I'm kind of priming you guys for it. So this is an old one from May 2023 from Ken Silva. Investigators referred to U.S. Army Colonel Michael Aquino's church, the Temple of Set, as a sadomasochistic devil-worshipping sect. The FBI released Aquino's records May 19th, including his letters complaining about his characterization. So this is stuff that this is files that got released back in 2023 of May, and the reason why this is kind of topical now is they literally I believe it was on the same exact time as the JFK files, they dropped like basically, I guess everything is my understanding. I haven't had a chance to look into it, although like, let's be real, I'm not going to actually go look into these individual files. Nobody fucking does that except for like crazy fucking researchers.
Right.
I mean, usually you just see what other people have pulled from, like, oh yeah, you're kind of like sourcing information that way. I'm not going to go through. I'm sure there's probably thousands of documents, but either way, apparently they dropped more info about this guy than they did about JFK on the same day. So, and this has been a area of research that's a lot going on here. Like this dude was prior Operation Phoenix, which was essentially kill squads in Vietnam. This dude is a fucking a colonel, so which is a 06. Yeah, 06, I think, B Milo, or was that 05? I don't know, whatever. Either way, pretty high up. That's like literally right before general. So, you go lieutenant colonel, general. So he was a colonel. He was a one away from being a general. So, not too far off. Or is it lieutenant colonel, general? I don't know. It's been too long. Man, it hasn't been that long since the military. I'm shit at this. Either way, point being, he was fairly high ranking. He was involved in very spooky shit. He ends up, starting some fucking, devil worshipping thing. It's like, bizarre. Obviously, while he's in the military, he's also involved in, he's implicated in multiple, scandals involving pedophilia. So there's a lot to this guy. This guy glows like the sun, and really is kind of relevant to our previous discussion if you really think about all the weirdness of him. But we'll get into that. You can even see. Look at his fucking weird ass.
I was gonna say, look at his eyebrows.
Yeah, so fucking weird. That's the weirdest thing about him. This is the thing I actually got really mad about Grok at the other day. Yesterday, that's actually part of why I just threw my hands up. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing a stream today. I spent like a fucking hour trying to get Grok to produce a picture of this guy. And it's like they just couldn't get it. And they kept making him look like somebody else. I'm like, you fucking assholes. But all right, anyways, let's go ahead and read through this article, and then I'll get your thoughts on it. Your Satanic U.S. Army colonel complained to FBI about pedophilia accusations, records show. Here you go. The FBI and other investigators referred to U.S. Army Colonel Michael Aquino's church, the Temple of Set, as a sadomasochistic devil-worshipping sect, possibly linked to the ritualistic abuse of children. Apparently, Aquino was upset by this description. According to records released by the FBI earlier this month, the recently released FBI records from its 1980s era investigation include letters from Aquino complaining that his satanic church was mischaracterized. Aquino said the negative stigma of Satanism led to unfounded allegations that he was engaging in ritualistic child abuse. Aquino, the founder of the Temple of Set, an offshoot of the Church of Satan, was accused in the 1980s of widespread sexual abuse of children at the Child Development Center, run by the U.S. Army in San Francisco. He has also been linked by at least one victim to the Franklin scandal, a 1980s-era pedophile ring that catered to prominent Washington, D.C. politicians, which Nick Bryant did a great job covering that. I mean, it was originally, I believe, covered by like Dave DeCamp back in the day, but I highly recommend Nick Bryant's book on that. I've also had him on Already Dead before, so you can check out us talking about this topic. The allegations stemming from these cases are beyond grotesque. Children told of being forced to play poo-poo baseball and the goo-goo game. Games that involved the children being forced to ingest urine and feces, wrote David McGowan in Program to Kill: The Politics of Serial Murder. Many of the children also spoke of having guns pointed at them and being told that they or their parents and siblings would be killed if they told anyone what had been done to them. Despite there being dozens of victims and undeniable evidence that many of them were abused, Aquino was never charged. The Satanic Colonel points to the lack of criminal charges as evidence of his innocence, but researchers have put forth evidence suggesting that the Colonel was a protected intelligence asset, with his purported activities being a mixture of MK-Ultra-like child experimentation and a Jeffrey Epstein-like sexual blackmail op. Multiple fires at and adjacent to the Child Development Center destroyed records related to the case, and the late great investigative journalist Gary Webb discovered the U.S. attorney handling Aquino's case was involved in the Iran-Contra cocaine smuggling operation. Aquino sued the Army in 1988 to have his record cleared, but he lost. In denying Aquino's motion, the court concluded there was a probable case to title Aquino with offenses of indecent acts with a child, sodomy, conspiracy, kidnapping, and false swearing, McGowan wrote. The recently released and heavily redacted FBI records show other attempts by Aquino to protect his and Satan's reputation. According to the records, Aquino wrote to the FBI in August 1987 complaining that the negative stigma associated with the Satanic Church is what led to the sex abuse accusations. It would be naive of me not to suppose that my religious office of the Temple of Set was of concern to you when making your assessment of the situation. After all, the Temple is an avowedly satanic institution, and Satanists are popularly assumed to be bad people, he said to a special agent whose name is redacted. The irony of all this is the Temple of Set has worked very hard since its founding in 1975 to be a decent, constructive, and responsible organization. In another letter written in September 1987 to the San Fran Police Department, Aquino demanded the agency stop associating the words satanic and Satanism with crime. These are terms particular to a bona fide and officially recognized religion in the U.S., which is not in any sense of criminal activity, he said. Almost 4 years later, Aquino wrote to the U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command on May 3, 1991, complaining that his Temple of Set was being characterized as a sadomasochistic, devil-worshipping sect. This is completely false, he griped, pointing to the Temple of Set's tax-exempt status. In response to his letter, Aquino was told that his complaints will be added to his file so any future reader of his material will have the benefit of your comments and observations. The dark mystery surrounding Aquino continues to this day. It seems as though someone or something is attempting to suppress information about the Satanic Army Colonel. When researching for this article, Headline USA found that Aquino's Wikipedia page has been wiped. This submission references do not show the subject qualifies for a Wikipedia article, his page states, explaining why recent article submissions about him have been denied. And we can go ahead and look, and lo and behold, it's still that way. There is no Wikipedia page for this guy, who is an extremely prominent individual, so this is nuts.
Not true. I'm actually on it.
Oh, well, then that one's not. Okay, well, what the fuck?
It's Michael Angelo Aquino. So maybe they put up a different one. You want me to send you the link to it? Here.
Sure, yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'm assuming maybe that was a workaround by somebody, because, like, what the fuck? Why did they wipe the original one? That's weird.
I mean, it's got all this shit in here. So
Huh. Weird.
check it out.
Well, I wonder if he fucked that up back in the day, or if that was the...
It might have been.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay, well, let's look over it. Let's verify. Should have started. Okay. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, it looks like they got a lot of shit in there. I mean, it's not a ton. Death, child molestation allegations, 3 paragraphs on it. I know. Temple of Set, 3 paragraphs. Mind War, which, by the way, for those who aren't aware, he wrote a book on Mind War, which is, literally called From PSYOP to Mind War, The Psychology of Victory. In this paper, both authors propose a new type of psychological warfare to replace or supplement conventional warfare. The term mind war suggests a broader, more pervasive form of psychological warfare that extends beyond traditional PSYOP. It may involve the use of media, information technology, and other forms of communication to influence both enemies and civilian populations. Measures such as altering electromagnetic waves or ionizing the air are also proposed to influence or manipulate civilians. So there you go. I mean, this dude is like as spooky as they fucking come. This dude glows. Like, he literally is just a glowy. I don't even really have to say he glows, which is like usually the implication is that it's like maybe he's a fed. This dude is a fed. This dude is a fed. Like, dude's writing about like, oh, we need to fuck with the society's mind while he's in the military, likely clicked up with intel. So yeah. Okay, well, I guess I kind of want to get your thoughts about this fucker in general, and just kind of also there was a lot of legal stuff in that article. So I just kind of wanted to get if you had any takeaways from that, particularly that you thought were interesting. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. I know I threw a lot at you, so we can go back through or scroll through it real quick.
My thought about there was a case he said. Now it's probably that went through probably military justice rather than the civil courts. So I don't know what their standard for all of that is.
Exactly. That was actually the one I had in mind. Though. I was like, I'd like his thought, the idea that keep going. Sorry, I'll find the actual exact one so we have it near here.
Find it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah. In denying Aquino's motion, the court concluded there was a probable cause to title Aquino with offenses of indecent acts with child, sodomy, conspiracy, kidnapping, and false swearing. So this is when they tried to have his record cleared from the military, and they essentially said, fuck off. Yeah. So, yeah.
So that sounds like to me, it was go with the way what was his motion. He wanted something, and it sounds like the court said, look, to even do this, is there a likeliness that this could be true? And that's all they really said. There's substantial evidence to think that it would lead to this, that you were diddling kids or whatnot. So fuck you. Yeah, exactly. Did you mention that he's connected with Gladio?
I didn't know, like, where are you seeing that? Like a specific Gladio? I mean, I'm not surprised there's any, but like, yeah, basically that's what Operation Phoenix was essentially Gladio by a different name, but yeah.
This is from the Wikipedia. Following his commissioning in the Army, Aquino served as psychological warfare specialist and was deployed to Vietnam. He served with the Green Berets in the 70s. Early 80s as part of time NATO liaison officer in European countries. While off duty in one of those tours, he visited Wellsburg Castle and was used by the SS and Heinrich Himmler and is said to have performed satanic rituals there. He is also said to have established contacts to right-wing extremists in Europe and the leader of a group called Monarch. Which have been connected to Operation Gladio.
God, Monarch. Man, a group called Monarch. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy is like peak, like... once again, to come back to the Monarch stuff, this guy is like, as I said with Adam Lanza, sound like you look at him, he looks like a victim of Monarch, and it's like now you look at this guy right here, now he looks like a perpetrator of Monarch.
One other connection, it's not made in here, but I can't help but think about it. Think of San Francisco in the 70s, early 60s, 70s, where he was at. He went back there, it says in 80, and what other big group was happening in San Francisco at the same time? Jim Jones. Comes out of San Francisco, so I don't know if there's any connection there, but there's always a weirdness with that. I mean, they moved down to Ghana. Was it Ghana afterwards? But it was started in San Francisco.
Guyana.
That's right.
Is that different? I don't even fucking know really where the place is.
Yeah, you're right.
Guyana. Yeah, I think they're different places. Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. Hell, even here it says Aquino was a reserve attaché to the DIA. And a year later, a student in the Foreign Service Intelligence, sponsored by the U.S. Department of State, as an intelligence officer. So he was an intelligence officer. He had access to top secret documents. He worked as a program analysis at the U.S. Army's Reserve Personnel Center. I was just looking at the spooky stuff. Okay, he worked at Merrill Lynch for a while. Okay, that's weird. And so he, had a license to trade securities on the New York Stock Exchange. All right, shit. Well, that's this dude he glows even more than I thought he did. I mean, he's just like peak example of like weird satanic glowy shit. Like, here you go, Michael Aquino. Like this is the best example of it. And if you're looking for like almost a parody of someone perpetrating Monarch, it's like, here you go. Like, I do find it particularly interesting. There was a group called Monarch that he was associated with. I never heard about them. So just the other day too, I found there was a group called Abraxas, so some sort of Abraxas group, which is, significant for those who have listened to me talk about was it the Jutro Fair? Because there was a cult of Abraxas there that was tied into this. So weird. And then also Abraxas is a Gnostic god. So it's like, what the fuck? Why are these always weird, esoteric, fucking shit with all these people? So, but yeah, there's this was the suing the army to have his record cleared is what we were looking at. There, so he's trying to get his record cleared. So I don't know where he got a record. Like I don't know, because it is a thing. Like, I mean, as I told you guys, I was military. When it comes to the military, there's like, I don't know what demerit system they were using at that time, but you have, at least in the Air Force, you You have like memorandums, which are literally just basically notes. So it's going to be good or bad. They can mean literally nothing. Most of the time, that means the supervisor is just holding on to it in his like, desk. It's not like actually in any sort of file anywhere. And then you got like LOCs, which is like the letter of counseling is so like, that's like when you're like the lowest level of trouble. Then you have like LORs, and these are all like non-actual administrative actions or whatever. Like you're not like literally in trouble. Like it's like it's not a good thing. Like obviously other people can see it in your file. They can see, oh, he's had this many LORs, LOCs, but it's like there's not any official action required, I guess, as of yet. Although you can get in trouble if you get enough of them. It's not until you get to where it's called like articles, like, oh, you're getting Article 14 or whatever, or you're getting court-martialed. And then articles are, if I recall correctly, typically is suggested in lieu. Like you can take a article something, I forget what it is, in lieu of a court-martial. So you're essentially, hey, here's your punishment for whatever action. You get an article, and you accepting it is not an admission of guilt. It's just that you're like, you may not want to get court-martialed. So it's like, whatever, I'm taking this.
Does it say when he motioned for that to happen?
No, it doesn't. That's why I was kind of getting at, like, and also, like, I was kind of getting like, what do they mean by record? These could literally just be like memorandums that are in his like permanent file or something.
Well,
so like
he was in the military and even in reserves and through the 90s and whatnot. Yeah. So there was I'm just reading here on the top here. It talks about a child molestation case in 1986 that San Francisco police had been done. So I imagine if you're in the military and you're having criminal stuff happening to you, they're going to put that in your military record.
Yeah, there'd probably be some sort of memorandum or something, whether you're not in trouble or not.
Now, he wasn't, they didn't pursue that, but it was probably in his record, so he's not now being able to move forward in his military career. So I'm just assuming, trying to connect dots here, so I'm assuming he then says, hey, I want this expunged from my military record, and they're like, even though the investigation didn't happen, and it's still, you're a creep.
Yeah, I will say when it comes to...
I'm guessing that might have been the process. So.
Yeah, I'd need to know more specifics on what like exactly records that he had like racked up or whatever, what the specific things were. Were these some sort of disciplinary actions of some sort by supervisors? I'm unsure. I would need to know more details about that. But I will say the fact that they won't expunge it, I do find interesting because even as I mentioned, like when you do get in trouble and like they will put it in your record, and it is like, I can't remember how long it is. It's like a certain amount of time or years or whatever. It's not long. I want to say it's like a year or two, not long, where for like, if you don't get in any more trouble, they're supposed to clear it. And if they don't, you're literally able to just casually go up to your like commander or his secretary or whatever, probably route it through your leadership. So, cause it's kind of, you're not supposed to do that. But either way, point being is that they're supposed to clear it. If you don't have any more trouble after a while. So the idea that I guess I would need to know the time between these supposed records and when he requested them being removed. But point being is the fact they won't remove it is kind of surprising.
Well, look at I think it's answered in this. If you look in the wiki link that I sent you, look under child molestation allegations. I kind of read you that first part, but then it says John DeCamp. Yeah, go down there.
John
there you
DeCamp.
go.
Okay.
I read from there to the bottom, or at least So there's a grand jury. They dismissed the case, but then it forestalled his ability to still be in the military. So. Oh,
okay. So this somehow ended up, because I was initially just this right here. Oops, sorry. This right here. This would have nothing to do with military records, at least, because this is off site. This isn't, but
right.
They might like annotate it somewhere, but yeah, okay, all right. He's rolling. Where are you seeing that this ran up to his issues?
So, but instead in Washington, D.C., where Aquino was enrolled in a graduate program under the auspice of the Industrial College of the Armed Forces, although no charges were filed, a continuation board ended Aquino's full-time active guard reserve contract in 1990. While Aquino said that he had continued to serve as So I'm assuming that I'm tying stuff together here. But.
Okay. All right. You might be right. Then clearly they didn't allow him to re-up his, sounds like the implication here is he wanted to continue going. All right. Let's do one more story and get out of here. I think we've covered this enough. Actually, let's roll through the chat, see what y'all have to say real quick. Unless y'all are just arguing amongst yourselves. Would you guys do that? Let me see. Oh, what's up, Fire Pixie? She's in the chat. Just see you here. Him and his wife were accused of dealing kids too. It's from Joey Poopbag. People who mess with kids need a millstone necklace and a boat ride, 100%. Who's that hot piece in the bottom right corner? That right there is Tyler Janke, baby. Michael and Aquino were Ted Gunderson were buddies. That's what I've heard. I've never really like looked into that. So let me see. Scrolling through here. It's Justin Valentine. CIA agents often lurk in the middle officer ranks, often colonel or lieutenant colonel, like Anthony Petruski, for example. Anthony Petruski. Do you mean Vincent? I swear it was a Vincent. Are you referring to the Oklahoma City bombing guy that was like tied into Strassmeyer? I'm pretty sure that's a Vincent, although maybe there is another Petruski I don't know of. So either way, all right, whatever. Interesting. You are correct. Let me see. Scrolling through what you guys say. Ali Muhammad was a sergeant, not even an officer, and he walked around Fort Bragg like he owned the place, arrogantly defying and belittling his CO, which I believe Ali Muhammad was wasn't he like some sort of shooter? I can't remember him. All right, cool. A couple of kids came down with chlamydia, is what Fire Pixie says. One specific girl was able to describe the inside of the Aquino's house, and then oops, there were fires that Presidio destroyed all the records. Oh, Vincent was his middle name. Oh, that's a fun fact. I didn't know that. Yeah, everywhere I've ever seen Petruski they're referred to as Vincent Petruski. So he's Anthony Vincent Petruski. Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. I did not know that shit. All right. Well, thank you, Justin Valentine. All right, yeah, and just on the Fire Pixie point, I did want to point out, I kind of wanted to mention it as we were going through all of this, that, this is where the false memory syndrome stuff comes into, where the board of people, when the trial came out and said, oh, no, all these psychiatrists, therapists, whatever, no, they were manipulating the children, and these are completely, false memories that these kids are having that are being implanted to them by the psychiatrists through all different means. So that was where the cover-up from that, and the whole false memory syndrome kind of... really started cranking up. All right, we got one more story, and I'm going to get you guys out of here. It's just all we're doing here is I want to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Or a retraction. Here we go. I fucked up last time. I had I didn't really fuck up. It's my buddy Bobo here. He shared this story, which we covered it, about in honor of St. Paddy's Day. We did a little bit of Irish mythology because he thought it was interesting how there was a magic harp in Irish mythology, and a lot of people think HAARP controls the weather, harp. But we read that whole story, which I taught you some Irish mythology, and there was nothing in there about controlling the weather. But then you go, he said, here's Bobo saying, that was him being able to control the weather. Sorry, that was such a small snippet in the story. I should have helped you put together. Sorry, but the other half is like what Austin was saying, where harp can control people's emotions along with the weather. Okay, I get what you're saying. So here we go. And also, so the music of Dog Does the Harp was known to change the seasons. So that was the thing. He changes the seasons. There's not a whole lot in there, and like the myth about specifics of weather, but he changed the seasons, which obviously you can apply to weather. And he changed the emotions, which I guess they're saying, maybe, I guess me and Austin, we talked about recently, maybe he's implying there might be some behavior modification possibly going on there as well, which I guess we kind of got at with the whole... Sandy Hook stuff and the tones and stuff. So this is what I was talking about when you Google it and it comes up with a harp instead of it just being a conspiracy theory. When you literally look up the mythology, it's probably just something the algorithm kind of odd, funny. So here you go. Weather. Okay, cool. When you look it up, weather stuff. Okay. Interesting.
I could have debunked it because here, think about this. I watched
I didn't even have it up the whole time. Oh, I'm such a dick.
Yeah,
all right, sorry. Go ahead.
I watched a clip the other day with Alan Dershowitz, and he said that Ireland is the most anti-Semitic nation. Okay, that's literally what he was saying. So, how is Ireland being so anti-Semitic? Jews control the weather. This didn't work. There's no, they're not Jewish there. I just didn't.
I think it was just throwing disrespect at the Irish, is what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. So. Right. Which, I mean, we did cover when we went into that. It goes a lot into like Aryan type stuff. So maybe like, and when you do really get deep into the whole Aryan narrative, you get into where like the OG Jews are kind of almost considering themselves as being like the Aryans. Yeah. A lot of this comes down to like, oh no, we're the chosen people. No, we're the chosen people. No, we're the superior race. No, we're the superior race. So like, I guess you can call the Aryans whatever. So they're this group, these HAARP people, were essentially like almost like literally a perfect parallel for Aryans when you look into like, that idea, the concept of a race of blonde hair, blue-eyed, stronger, more technologically advanced people. That's exactly what the Irish are describing with their gods there. They described it as blonde hair, blue-eyed, and they all had these weird technologies and stuff, like odd weapons and stuff. Like he had this harp, and he also had a club that could kill like 9 people at once or something, which like if you were looking at like an advanced race or group of humanity, You'd be like, that could easily just be like if me and you went back in time to, 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago, they'd probably think of us as gods if we were able to bring some of our technology with us, and the way they would describe it would be probably similar. So, but with that, we're kind of rambling now. We've covered everything I really wanted to. We're almost at 2 hours. Appreciate you joining me, Tyler. You want to let people know where they can find you, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah. Just find me on Twitter. Tyler Janke is the handle there, and then you can see all my shows. I'm going to try to do one this afternoon on Con Inc., but I usually go on Fridays. I'm going to be on Conspiracy. What is it? Horseshoes and Hand Grenades this next Tuesday. So check me out there. And I did just find the ruling of Aquino on his suit in 1992. So maybe someday I'll do that, and you can kind of join me or something. So.
Oh hell yeah, I'm good with that. With that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. If you guys want to support this show, you can do that. I mean, one way you can do that without having to chip in a buck at all, like, share, subscribe, comment. That stuff goes a long way, helps out big time. If you do want to chip in some money, I appreciate it. Also, you can leave 5-star reviews. I forgot to mention that. Spotify, iTunes. But if you really want to help out, money, cash is king, baby. Go to patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That's where you get early access to episodes. Ooh, I completely forgot to mention, I have a huge fucking guest coming soon. Huge. Probably, obviously today is Sunday, but literally next Sunday, probably 9-ish. I'm still waiting for confirmation. I will go ahead and let you know, a strong hint. I did the same exact thing on Twitter. I'm not going to give confirmations or denials, except for one person did ask if it was going to be James Corbett, and there's no shade at all to James Corbett. I want to let it be said. I did leave a hint that it was like I dropped 2 photos, the Terrence Yeaky didn't kill himself and the Kenneth Rennie didn't kill himself thing. Those are the 2 hints. Someone said, oh, James Corbett. And I go, no. I said, think bigger. Think someone like actually part of the story, not someone who talks about the story, which once again, no shade to James Corbett because that describes me as well. I'm just saying like literally someone actually part of the story. So that is what we're talking about here. So big one. Really big one. Someone I've wanted to interview for years. So keep an eye out. I will not tell you if that's the case until like the day of. You can guess. I won't tell you if you're right, but you can guess.
Terrence's brother.
No. I'll just go ahead and say no there.
Okay. I don't really know.
But yeah, if you do just want to support me, patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. That's where you'll get that. That will be one of the paywalled episodes. That's not going to be one of the live shows. That's not going to be in the morning show. That's not going to be on Already Dead. That's just going to be a normal No Way Jose episode that'll probably be at least a week behind the paywall. Maybe I'll release it earlier, but week or weeks behind the paywall. So if you want it earlier, patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. Like I said, $2 just to get that. So, and also all the other ones. I'm getting to the point where I'm working up to. I'm trying to get to where I have 4 behind the paywall at all time, and I'm gonna start, doing 2 doing 2 a week, and then also I'll probably start releasing 2 to the public a week as well. So 1 to 2. So that's the release schedule roughly. But you can also get an ad-free RSS feed, and you can also be a talking head on me and Austin's call-in show on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. So yeah, it definitely pop in for those. We love it when you guys come in, whether you call in or if you come in as a video call. I definitely prefer the video call. It's a lot easier. But with that, also my highest level, I read them off every episode. My co-host and Tower Gang at Tower Gang Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at COVRACK, at _Infinite Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at Jolly on Cleveland, Will Bell's, a delicious blueberry rabbit eye wine, then big fan of the show, Torn May, and at INWARD Lover. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose, and that's where you can tag me, and I will likely bring up stuff. I had multiple tabs that I was going to go into from you guys. I'll save that for the next one. I didn't forget about you guys. I just had a guest pop in, so I reoriented it. I usually go through them a lot quicker when I don't have a guest, so I was going to get through a few of you guys' suggestions, but I'll save those for later. But keep making suggestions, because that's you guys are my eyes and ears out there. That's how I help me find content. With that, we're out of here. Deuces. Appreciate you joining me today, Tyler.
Yep.
We're out.
Tell Jeff hi.
Hey, Jeff.